Guests on Keel heard via the Jack Spring Electric Keel Newsmaker hotline. Tracy Herrin is, I think it's called the captain of captains of like all the crews. Miss Tracy, welcome to Keel. Is that basically, do I have the captain of captains definition? Am I pretty close?
Well, what it is I'm the captain of captains for the Northwest Louisiana cruise.
Okay, so you're in charge. You are sort of the big boss overseeing the actions of Centaur and Gemini and all the others. Have I got that right?
Well, sort of, kind of, yeah.
So what have you guys?
I'm kind of
what have you guys decided? Was there a lot of arguing and yelling? Was it a difficult decision to make? Tell us about what you guys have decided en masse, I guess.
Well, it was difficult in the sense that, it really hurts our heart to have to say, okay, these are the things we're not going to be doing this year. But, each captain had to make their own decision and decide what was best for their crew. So when they sat down with their boards and said, okay, we got to think about what's best for the public and what's best for our crew members. And then we came together as the Captain's Council came together. No, there was no yelling. There was no nothing. It was just, really hard to try to accept that, there's not going to be much Mardi Gras in our hearts this year.
Why isn't there going to be?
Well, with the coronavirus and everything, you have some of these smaller crews, which they could have a grand ball and everything, and there wouldn't be much impact. But when you have a crew the size of Centaur and Gemini, and they have over 1,000 people, and we don't know where we will be standing at that point in time. And when it comes to planning a ball, it takes months and months to plan a ball.
Let me ask you this, because this is kind of a tough question. I think who did you consult? Who did you consult that helped you make your decision that 6 or 7 months into the future we can't do this?
Well, basically, each captain had to consult their own boards, and then each captain consulted each other, the captain's councils. They sat down and they talked, and they just talked to each other, and then they went back to their boards. And when you have to look at how long it takes to get costumes and venues and caterers and all this, your royalty ready for a ball, and then you got to even bring that up one step closer, and you have your royalty, but you can't have new royalty unless you have a coronation.
So basically, a lot of what it came down to was there's so many people in the process, in the pipeline, as it were, that you just can't count on everybody that would be involved. Is that kind of it too?
It's kind of it too, and really, if you're asking someone to put out the money to be a royal, this isn't true royalty or anything. It's just the Mardi Gras royalty. But would it be fair for them to put out that kind of money for only half a year when we're not going to be able to do anything this year?
So you're not going to have royalty at all. If the parades roll, there'll be no royalty, or are you going to do something online where you pick king and queen, etc.?
The royalty that's already in place for most of the crews. Now, some crews have already made their selection for their royalty, and they will carry over for the next season.
Okay, let's talk about let's talk about the parades.
And for the next parade, if we get to have our parade, which we're planning, where everybody's getting bead orders and everything. What it will be is that it'll just, whoever is, we're not quite sure how everybody's going to handle their own royalty.
Mm-hmm.
This is all new for us. I know that all the royalty who is in place right now, a lot of those will just carry over and finish out the second half of their year next year. Yes, they've already had their parade, so how will a crew handle that part? I don't know. That's going to be interesting, and that's something they're all going to have to decide. They've already had their big day and their big parade.
Sure.
Do they get to?
Mm-hmm. Okay, let's talk about the parades a minute, Tracy. How will that decision be made? Do you have a date when decision date by X that you got to make it? And how will that process be handled?
Well, our number one thing is, okay, can we get, beads and throws and everything else in time?
They come from China, don't they?
Yes, because there's not too many places you can really get those things.
Mm-hmm.
So right now that's looking good. So we're like, okay, one box checked. The big thing is us being allowed to have it by the city officials and everything. That is going to be our number one thing. Again, we have to be able to have time to plan a parade. It takes time and with a lot of coordination with the city and with the police spar, things like that.
Is the budget? Pardon me. Is the budget problem that the city is facing $25 million between now and the end of the year, and who knows how short we'll be in 2021? Is the city's budgetary problem a factor in this also? In that they sort of step up annually and help you guys out, if not with direct contributions money wise, but with police and everything else, huh?
Well, and that's something that's got to be taken into consideration also. We're like, okay, how is that going to affect us, and what are we going to need to be doing? And we're really concerned about that. So we just really, right now, we don't know where we stand. We're planning. We are planning. We're just like, we're going forward. All the crews are like, we're going to do it. Because it does take time. And so it's like, let's just go ahead and just plan that we're going to have it until we can't.
Have you talked to anybody at the city so far about this far in advance? Have you gotten any inkling from city officials which way they might go?
As of right now, everything I've been told from other sources is that there's no one can make that decision this far out.
Gotcha.
Because it's too early.
Right. And the first things that were on your schedule to be canceled, the coronation balls were planned this summer for most, correct?
Yeah, coronations, they would have been started next month,
okay.
June.
Gotcha.
How's about the float building and stuff like that? All of that all that's going to go along as planned? Because I know there's a ton of work and a ton of money goes into that also.
For each crew, this will be a great year. This time frame will be used for them to do membership drives. Work on membership, work on their floats, their own in-house stuff. It's a time to rebuild and regroup, and just really look at their, inside, and at that point give out. And to be seen in the community and let the community see what it is we really do. And we don't just have balls and parties and a parade, but we really do give to the community. And this way, I think they'll actually be seeing more of that from our crews than they'll be seeing online with the pictures of the parties.
Gotcha.
And that's what we were really excited about.